This episode of Empower Her Radio with Dr. Corey Winn is proudly sponsored by the Cliff House at Pikes Peak in Manitou Springs, Colorado. The Cliff House is more than a luxury escape nestled at the base of America's mountain. This November, it becomes the heart of generosity as they host the inaugural fundraising event for the Carl Edward Foundation. The Carl Edward Foundation exists to bring dignity, mobility, and freedom back to patients and families facing spinal cord injuries and progressive neurological diseases. These diagnoses can change everything, but they don't have to define everything. Okay, I don't love this. Hold on. Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the space for powerhouse women ready to step into their next level of abundance, purpose, and personal freedom. I'm Dr. Corey Winn, a high-performance coach, doctor of physical therapy, philanthropist, and business consultant. I help ambitious women align with their highest calling, expand their wealth and impact, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're a high-achieving woman who's built success yet finds yourself craving more alignment, more purpose, more ease, you're in the right place. Here, we bridge the gap between ambition and fulfillment. Through transformative conversations and proven strategies, you'll gain the courage to step into the fullest expression of you. Build a powerhouse business that aligns with your expertise and divine gifts, and lead your life, both personally and professionally, with unshakable confidence, worthiness, and compassion. This is about expansion, legacy, and owning your power unapologetically. You already have everything inside of you to create a life of unlimited possibility. It's time to unlock it. Welcome to your next level. Let's dive in. Today's guest and I were just laughing off the air, but I have to introduce her because she is incredibly extra special to me, not just because of her powerhouse story, but because I also get to call her a dear friend and fellow She Sells consultant. Christi Civalier is one of those women who lights up any room she walks into with incredibly bold energy. She's a top performing enterprise sales leader with over 30 years in high-tech industry, a transformational speaker, identity performance coach, and the creator of the Be It Now method. Christi helps high achievers collapse time, evaluate their identity, and become the version of themselves who already wins. Her journey is one of reinvention, resilience, and rising from burnout into brilliance, and I'm truly blessed to share this conversation with her today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Corey. You're going to make me cry. Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. And just to think back, I think it's only been maybe a little over 12 months from when we first met. And it seems like a lifetime.
Right? Oh my
Yes.
gosh. That vibe of oh my gosh, you've known each other forever.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that people get to hear your story though. So from if you're meeting Christi for the first time today, welcome. But if you know her, I'm sure you love her story. But tell us, take us back to that first moment when you realized your life that you were living no longer matched the badass that you are today.
Oh, thank you. And I think that's why really we're here together, because every time lately somebody's been asking me that, it was a moment when there's other people now that are in our community, such as Carolina and Kelsey and Yulia and just Kim, just a great group of people. But I was sitting in Lake Arrowhead at another mastermind that I belong to, and I actually coach for Ian Koniak. He had his coach, Elise Archer, come to be the guest speaker. And I remember, it was one of my first masterminds. So there were a lot of folks that I was really kind of diving into, and I didn't have the opportunity to really get close to Elise during these 2 days because she was always pulled in a different direction. And I was kind of working with some of the people that I were very familiar with talking to at the event. Well, she got up and did her keynote speech. And when she just said and talked about that feeling of being stuck, I just remember that word stuck. Every time I hear stuck, I think of Elise. I think of the beautiful atmosphere that we were in overlooking Lake Arrowhead. And I'm going, I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not the life that I imagined for myself. And at that time, I was divorced. And this is for a whole nother story. But I will tell you, through all of this work, the hurt, the pain, the betrayal, the grief, the how did I end up in this situation
Mm-hmm.
has turned into light, love, and laughter in
Uh-huh.
the sense that we were out to dinner the other night, a family dinner with my two daughters and my ex-husband. And I just remember sitting there going, today, if I were to meet this man, I don't even think we could have a conversation. But sitting with our two beautiful girls and really me understanding who he is in my life now in such a fun, loving way, we are able to just have an amazing time. I see him every day. He's here every day. And the relationship now is just one of true we're here for each other to help each other. And I have been able to truly use his relationship to heal the broken parts of me.
Mm-hmm.
So, for that, I'm grateful.
Uh-huh.
And, but if we transition a little further, so there was that. Then I'm looking at these two beautiful girls that are now 15 and 16 and me and feeling, even though always have been a very positive person, there's also a lot of victim mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I have parents that loved me? Why didn't I have a husband that adored me? Why am I doing everything by myself? Why
Right.
am I a man living in a woman's body? That was always my big thing too. Who's going to take care of me?
Uh-huh.
When I finished listening to Elise's keynote, that is when I'm like, I need to know more about this woman. She was hitting every button, raw, open button. And I'm like, how does this woman know what I'm living in my mind?
Yeah.
Right? And immediately after that is I called her. So this was the end of April. So it was right at the beginning of May when she could see me. I signed up to start coaching with her, which then transformed into our mastermind in
Uh-huh.
summer. But the work of truly identifying what those old stories were in your head and looking at it that we are programmed. I mean, you just don't realize where all these beliefs are coming from,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you look at, parents or environment or things that have just been part of your being and that you've taken them in and held them as your own.
Right.
As soon as I started diving into those discussions, I mean, she and I could laugh for hours on moments of when she would look at me and say, Christi, yeah, he's coming in his $500 golf outfit. Yes, you don't want to date him anymore. And you're mad on a Friday night when you're driving your kids around and you don't even want him driving them around, but yet take your power back. And I'm like, take my power back. What? Right? And like there were times and then we'd keep coaching and she'd say, and I'd be, wait a minute, we got to walk this back a minute. All I need to do is take my power back. And
Mm-hmm.
so these things that were just kind of out there that I couldn't understand in my personal life, that I took for granted in my business life. It's because I was taught how to do my business life. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't taught how to do my personal life. That's when things really started to change. And I was able to focus on identifying what was holding me back, identifying some beliefs that I am like, oh my God, I would know. That is not true. I don't
Uh-huh.
believe. Well, then why are
Uh-huh.
you letting that story run through your head? I
Right.
don't know, right? So that is like the most exciting thing that has been going on over the past 12 months. And then able to be with folks like you and all of our like crew back at the She Sells community to continue living in this high vibe of we're the only ones that are holding ourselves back.
Yes. Yes. Well, and I so want to honor you too, because so many of us, I know there's times in my life when I have, you know, waddled in victimhood and why me, and I don't understand why this is happening. And to be able to not only step back and be able to like really kind of look at it from, bird's eye view, and also acknowledge like, oh, I have some areas where I can take my power back. I have some areas of that I can grow. I have some areas that I can step into. That takes an incredible, woman person to be at that place. And all of us hearing that, I hope our audience learns like, this is your moment. Take your
Yes.
power back. This is your moment to really look at your life and go, wait a second, where am I letting someone else be in control when I actually have some things that I need to work on?
Yes. And the exercise that we did just a few weeks ago, right? Now, and I do want to share something else that I did that was over the top transformative, and I am a different person now, which I'll share in a second. But during one of our consulting sessions, when we worked on that exercise with Elise, where she had said, I'm paraphrasing and remembering it probably the way I am remembering it, but it was almost sharing back, identifying those areas in your childhood, right? At different ages when, let's say, money issues came up, because that's a popular one, right? I see myself as little Christi with two big pigtails, my
Uh-huh.
bangs cut up to here and this red shirt on. I've got the picture. I see that. And I remember when that was a time in my family's life where my mom was really being strict about money and spending money, and money doesn't grow on trees. And,
Uh-huh.
the whole nine
Uh-huh.
yards that my dad would always say, what do you think? We were, we were raised in a barn, to turn the lights off, all that stuff,
Yes,
right?
I can
Right?
hear it. I can hear all of those
All
things.
of it, right? All of it. You're supposed to be seen, not heard. That was
Uh-huh.
a favorite one of both of my parents, right? So no wonder why I had issues being visible, right? I mean, it's like he's seen but not heard. And so when you look at these different moments in your life, and then there's like 12-year-old Christi when something happened and came up, and then there's 20-year-old Christi, right? And even you graduate into that like almost 30 when you really make some big changes. And there's areas where Elise said, it's like, go back and tell your younger self how successful you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's crazy to think there are days when 7-year-old Christi is running my life.
Mm-hmm.
And no, you don't think about it. And I'm hoping, like I love to say this to the folks that I'm coaching, that this moment is something that I'm giving you where you can't unsee it,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Yes.
when you're sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, where's this coming from? And that pops into your head. And I'm like seeing yourself in that picture and those ponytails. I'm like, I am 58 years old. Why are you running my life right now? Right? But I've learned to go back and to make sure that's whether for me to say it out loud for these younger versions of myself, we've come a long way,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you've got me here. I'm good, and we're no longer available for these type of conversations, or we want to be happy. Like, so it's learning to kind of identify and let go, is crazy as it sounds. When I share it with some of the folks that are, 10, 20 years younger than I am, moving up the ranks in sales, they're like, oh my gosh, it's gold. And it
Mhm.
is gold, because you don't realize, the first time I heard inner child, I'm like, inner child,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
What? Feminine energy? Ew. Like, I did not know it working with all men in high tech sales. I'm like, that's a sign of weakness.
Uh-huh.
when you can really truly understand some of these missing pieces of who you are, like asking yourself, who am I? What makes me happy? It's such an easy question that I have not asked myself in 50 some years.
Uh-huh. Well, and I love all of the energy with all of this, and I knew this conversation was going to be so good. And it's so funny that you talk about like the be seen and not heard, and like be quiet and make yourself smaller. I have to tell you, one of my most favorite memories of Christy is about a year ago, sitting in one of our She Sells events, and I said, I've had my doctorate for 14 years and I don't use that. And Christy leans forward and she's like, "You don't use that?" And it was this light bulb moment, as I'm hoping all of you guys hear, like, you have incredible expertise, whatever field you're in, you
Yes.
have the knowledge to transfer it into so many different ways. Own it. Step
Yes.
into that place. This
Step
is your
into your
permission.
power. Yes, this is your permission. When I looked at you and said, what? And you're like, what do you mean? I go, you don't have on your business cards like Dr. Corey Winn. And you're like, I don't refer to myself as that. I go, girl, you better start.
And in that moment, it
Yeah,
changed.
it changed. And it's funny too how people see our greatness before we do.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And really being able to help and unlock and help people unlock that, because there are so many times. Just this morning I had a beautiful coaching session with one of my guys. He is amazing, and he's also one that our energies are very, he's very stoic and I'm very, so I always am like, hey, I got to dumb down my energy a little for you. And he laughs and goes, no, don't. I love it. Right? Being sensitive to that with people and really listening to what he was saying. So we talked about a few things that were bothering him, and I knew exactly that it wasn't his habits that was creating the chaos within, right? So we kind of started identifying a little bit some things here and there. And then I said to him, what makes you happy in the course of your day?
Hmm.
You love sales. What is it that you love about it? And then I wrote, identify what is it that you don't like about it.
Hmm.
Now, how are we going to bring those together to manage your state of being, your alignment
Hmm.
with everything you love, and balance it with what you don't like in a manner that you're not being reactive,
Hmm.
right? And he's like, I never thought of it that way.
Hmm.
And I said, when you think about it, you cannot be selling consistently at a high level for, in my case, almost my 40th college reunion is coming up next weekend. So let's say what, 36 years of selling. You can't be in this if you're not leaning into who you are as a person,
Right. Yeah.
right? And in managing the things that you don't want to do here. And so looking at everything that makes you you, I guess, to kind of take that back and to get us where we were like once started, is when you can live with that intention every day,
Hmm.
like you always win the day,
Oh, yeah.
right? You
Oh,
always
yeah.
win the day. You always win the day because you feel such a sense of peace. So when I got into all of this deeper study, and I got so intrigued with some of the things that I taught myself on my own a long time ago. I know some people have heard the story and I won't dive all the way into it, but when I took my first sales job, there was so much to learn, right? What do you say? What questions do you ask? Oh my God, what do I do? I just want to be successful. So I
Uh-huh.
remember I was going into Barnes and Noble to buy a book, and the title of the book was Think and Grow Rich. I saw it
Hmm.
on but that wasn't the book I was going to buy. Yes,
It's
I
right
was,
there.
yes, loved it. That's my favorite book. But I was going in just to buy a book on sales. And then I saw Think and Grow Rich. What is this? And I pulled it out and I'm like, you mean that all I have to do is think and I can grow rich? And I'm like, this is me. I couldn't put the book down. So
Mhm.
back then, I bought all the cassette tapes and I listened to them as I was driving to my sales calls. You know, one of them got eaten up in my tape, and I'm like, oh, pulling it out and
Yes. Yes.
pulling it back.
Take your
It was,
pencil out.
yeah, taking the pencil out. It was my pride and joy. And so that year, I was able to really take some of those practices that he talked about, what your mind can achieve and believe, your mind can conceive, right? All of that stuff. And I was my first year at Pitney Bowes, and there were 5,000 sales reps, and I literally practiced my speech every day. I went out and bought everything that I was going to wear on stage to deliver my speech to all my peers. It was a trip to Hawaii. I had never been. Um, and all of a sudden, at the end of the year, there was just this deep knowingness that I was going to do this. I never looked at the leaderboard. I never looked at anything. I'm just like, I'm number one. Every morning I'd get up and I'd run on the treadmill and I would be saying my speech.
Mhm.
So it's like I collapsed that time into that year to be able to do that. And diving back into that, right? Because kids not having the group and the community around you to continue you in that all the time, I always was able to be successful and operate at a pretty high level. But when you really start focusing on these aspects, like we've been doing in the She Sells community, it is amazing to see what starts to happen. So I really started diving into Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. We talk about it all the time. And I said I couldn't get enough of it. I'm listening to it all the time in my headphones, walking the dog, listening to Dr. Joe. He's on something, I'm listening to him. So I told myself I'm going to go to one of his retreats. So 2 weeks ago, I went to a retreat.
That's awesome.
It was the most phenomenal, incredible thing that has ever happened in my life, right? And I think the gist of it is really when you are able to let go of your old programming. Like
Mhm.
I probably why we had such a great dinner the other night is because I do not feel like myself. I
Mhm.
do not eat the same food. I
Mhm.
do not listen to the same music. I do not do things like I was doing them before. I truly am a different person. It's like through the meditation, through everything we talked about, like just a lot of release, I think, a lot of a belief changing has happened. And it really is something that I can tell you moving into this phase of life. If something were to happen to me today, God forbid, and I haven't been able to do everything that I've always wanted to do, I today could be like, I've lived a great life.
That's
I
awesome.
finally understand what it means for self-love
Mhm.
and to be worthy
Mhm.
and nothing. I mean, honestly, people like work, people they're like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, it just changed a little. But nothing will like allow me to think in any way, shape, or form that I used to think. It's
Mhm.
like when I'm there, I'm present, I'm showing up. Thoughts, I mean, honestly, the day goes by so quickly. I'm like, there's no time anymore. It's like
Mhm.
the time is just goes and it's spent and it's joyous and it's happy. And that is where I think the majority of us, I mean, you're not quite there when you're changing into this next chapter. This is where people, when you hear them sometimes say, and I would hear them say, this is the best chapter because I don't care anymore what people think and I don't care what I look like. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't care what you look like? You're a bombshell in your 30s and 40s and 50s. And now I'm almost 60 and I'm like, what's going on? Right. But you come to this point where when they say age gracefully, it's like, I don't feel like there's an age anymore.
Mhm.
It's like, it is just this beautiful, like, what can I do next?
Mhm.
How can I live the life that I want to live? So that is what I can embrace from my past, right? And it was a long, resilient, traumatic past that doesn't
Mhm.
even feel like that was me anymore.
Uh-huh.
But I'm so grateful, right, to hopefully share and hold space for others
Mhm.
that you can come to this point and you can act like it is just a whole new event and adventure. My kids are like, Mom, why are we taking different routes to places? I'm like, because I don't want to do the same thing every day.
We might find something new. We
Right.
might
We
see
might
something
find something
exciting.
new. They are like, you are crazy. And I'm like, but that's okay. But we've also found a lot of joy in things like that too, right? Just taking a different way to the grocery store or taking a
Oh
different
yeah.
way, going to a different grocery store,
Mhm.
right? Because there's different things. Um, and so just learning and sharing, living your life differently every day, but yet to your highest standards
Mhm.
is something that is so invaluable to me.
Yes. Yes. And it started with a decision. It
Yes.
started with a decision that you invested in yourself.
Yes.
And I hope that our audience really hears that from kind of start, I don't want to say to finish because we're always working on growing,
Yes.
but that moment that you're like, oh, I wish my life was different, or I wish this wasn't happening, or whatever, make a decision that it's no longer going to be.
Yes.
You make a decision to invest in yourself. You make a decision to be joyous. And I remember when Elise said that to me first, I was like, oh, whatever.
Yes.
It's not that easy. And the process of getting here is not easy because it takes a lot of ownership and a lot
Yes.
of peeling back the layers over the years of mindset, of all the things that you talked about earlier, about all of these attitudes and opinions that are running around in our heads. And to hear tell your story to all of our audience, we can all get there. We can
Yes.
all be that person. We have the ability to find joy in every moment, whether it's challenging or not. And it's all about a decision. And
Yes. And it's all
I love
really
it.
about, I think, too, going through this, it's like we learn a lot about how we rewire these thoughts. And again, like you said, it is active, but once you start doing it,
Mhm.
you can't unsee it,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Once you
absolutely not.
start taking out that piece of paper, and as Elise so lovingly puts it, the old personality and then the new personality,
Yes.
right? Right?
I look
What
back at my
goes
old personality, I'm like, oh,
right? And you don't even identify with that person anymore. And
yeah.
so for everybody that's kind of listening to us, it's crazy when you start thinking, like if you're driving right now or you're doing something at home and a thought was running through your head that was like, why am I doing this? Or, how come this is happening to me? Or why don't I have this? Or whatever, why can't I afford this?
Mhm.
Like, jot it down, put it in your phone, put it somewhere where you can then immediately, what is that new person? What is it that you do want? And
Mhm.
9 times out of the 10, it's the exact opposite of what you were thinking,
Mhm.
right? And then you start thinking about what caused that thought,
Mhm.
which then caused that feeling,
Mhm.
and then you want to kind of
Mhm.
step out
Mhm.
of it and start making decisions from the place of the person that you know that you are meant to be.
Yes.
And I truly believe we're all on this journey. And for a while, I was so bummed out that it took me so long to get here. And that's why I think I'm so passionate about helping people, one, and I even hate to say this, 2 decades younger than I am, because it is so easy. I also took the old therapy route, traditional therapy, and I
Mhm.
love my therapist, but the tools and the fact that I flew Pandora's box wide open and
Mhm.
then sat in it every day, still being the same person. Okay, I've identified what happened in my childhood. I've identified why
We've
I let
opened
people,
Pandora's box, but now what do
but
we do?
I'm sitting in the box with it open. Like, was it better when I walked around with my head in the sand and wondered why I was a dirty doormat? Because now it's open and I know I am a dirty doormat, but I don't know how not to be a dirty doormat, right? So again, the investment in myself there was not as rewarding is when I wanted to figure out, okay, I've got all of this great data,
Right.
and I sat on it for 5 years, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you sit in it and it's like, okay, I don't want to wake up and be like that the next day. And then all of a sudden, the phone call comes about this or that happens, and there you are back into this kind of crazy state. You know why you're doing it, but you don't know how not to do it anymore.
Hmm.
When you really look at, I believe this, now others may not, but I truly believe after going down that path and sitting still in my misery, now consciously knowing my misery instead of
Right.
unconsciously knowing,
Right.
and really being able to say, okay, I'm having this thought that is not who I want to be, and then being able to detach from that emotion, right? And every time it keeps coming up, to stop associating with that. Within weeks, these things start falling off your plate, right? You're not thinking about them anymore.
Yes.
And it's like I tell my kids when they're, lamenting over something, why are you rewatching this horror movie? Right? Like, why are you rewatching it? Why are you
Yes.
watching it in your head? Nothing is changing.
Hmm.
If we went back and watched Frozen right now, it's still the same ending, right? Let's watch a different movie, right?
Yes, I
Let's
love
watch a
that.
different movie. And when you really start kind of uncovering it, and it might be through different things that you like to do. Maybe if you're a big runner, instead of running, go to yoga, go do something different every day. Like, start doing something that's going to incorporate a newer part of who you want to become.
Hmm.
And that really starts helping you to step into this next level of you. And
Hmm.
when I heard that concept, and you heard that concept, it's hard until you really start understanding, because as we're learning, and as Napoleon Hill, as Elise, as everyone that we really kind of dive into and believe, and even Dr. Joe Dispenza, it's like you need to start being grateful and have gratitude for that you don't have yet,
Hmm.
but that you are creating.
Hmm.
So getting into that state,
Chills.
right? Right? That getting into that state and living as if every day is something that, yes, it does take a lot of work, but it's fun. And then the synchronicities that happen are so crazy, because when you start becoming in alignment with yourself, which I believe, and I never understood that, mind, body, and soul 10 years ago to me was like, I'm in business. Like, I don't have time for any of that stuff. Let
Uh-huh.
me tell you, I have a lot of time for it during the day. My boss tried to put something on my calendar for later. I go, no, that's my meditation time. You know that. I'm not breaking it. He
Hmm.
goes, why can't you meditate? I go, no, I need to meditate at 3:20. That's what I do.
Hmm.
And I can meet with
And
you at 4:20, but not 3:20.
and
Right?
I love too that you're also in an environment that respects and encourages that.
Yes.
So, because I think that's the other thing that I've really developed from Elisa's programs and working alongside you and our other colleagues is removing ourselves from the spaces that don't see our value,
Yes.
don't see what we have to offer. And I know the first limiting belief that comes up from our audience right now is, well, I can't just quit my job. Yes, and you can be looking for a new one. You can be
Yes.
looking for those spaces. I do understand bills and mortgages and things like that. And I also recognize the incredible value of surrounding myself with like-minded women and men who hold us to our better standard, who recognize our value and our worth and push us like Christi, you don't use that every day to be better. And it's not
Exactly.
hard when you're all together moving forward in the same direction.
Exactly. And in more importantly, it is, if you don't feel valued and you don't feel respected, potentially that's areas where you need to, look inward potentially, but you're also dimming your light to fit in,
Yes.
which then starts the cycle of reprogramming old programming, like not
Right.
reprogramming, old programming running through your head because you're not living in alignment with who you are during your workday.
Yes.
Right. And again, to your point, we're not staying here like, go quit your job. I'm not quitting my job. And my job is I work on with the manager, and there are 9 men on my team. There is not a woman to be seen for ever. Like, really, I get on a meeting internal with a woman. It's like, whoa, what? But you know what I have learned to really do is protect my energy, which is very important to me at this point. And I've also I've learned how to fly under the radar, live my life the way I want to live it, and then above the radar when I need to be.
Hmm.
Right? So that is something too that you can juggle within the workday by taking your power back that we talked about a little earlier,
Yes.
managing your day, because I believe this, and it is a little bit masculine in a thought, but it also then transfers into feminine. When you manage your calendar, you manage your income.
Hmm.
Right. And by meaning that is, if you are like the person I was speaking to earlier today, his big thing wasn't habits, it was managing his calendar, because he needs to be in his zone of genius for blocks of hours at a time,
Hmm.
because he's not good when people start inserting things in and throw him off kilter.
Right.
Right? Because then he can't regroup. So I said, let's start looking at how you can block this in such a way that will allow you to perform at your highest standards,
Hmm.
right? And end your day every day as a win. So, what are those three intentions? What would make you feel like you had a professional win today?
Hmm.
And then what will make you feel like you have progressed some of the things that were bothering him? What would make you feel like you've progressed what you needed to do to feel like it was a win? He goes, oh my gosh, this is great.
Hmm.
Because now when you start your day in the morning, and I said, get a sticky, like a digital sticky, I always have them up on my laptop, get a digital sticky, and you put those three things down that you want to end the day with, and look up at them every couple of hours to make sure that you're hitting and marking to them. Guess what? If at 4 o'clock you flip down your computer, if it's, 5 o'clock, you won.
Hmm.
You won.
Yeah.
Right. And some of it is mastering your emotions.
Hmm.
And when you are being triggered by something, we're all going to be triggered. I'm triggered, but it's how long am I triggered?
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
then knowing, like, if I take this one more minute, I'm going down the rat hole,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
don't want to go down there. Right.
Oh my gosh, I think about the times that I used to ruminate for days, weeks on end about something, and it's like, never again. That's
Never.
way too much time and energy to something that's getting me absolutely nowhere.
Yes, my kids, I tell them when they start and they keep trying to, although I'm noticing because I'm so different, they are starting to really show up differently. But
Mhm.
every once in a while, someone will like try to, and I'll go, girls, keep knocking on the door because you're not opening it.
I
They're
love
like, what does that mean? I go, Mom's not going to lose her SHIT anymore.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
Right?
gosh, I love it.
Right?
Well, and Allison, who's also part of our team, she talks about let it be easy, let it be fun. And
Yes.
my daughter's 10 and was so worried because this year, like there's an opportunity for some kiddos to go to this outdoor school, but it was lottery. She didn't get in. So like her best friends aren't at school anymore. And she totally fell apart this morning. Mommy, I have no friends. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna be the mom that like listens for a minute and like hears that she's very, very sad about all of this. And how can we let this be easy and let this be fun? Because there's what, 30 other kids in your class? There's
Yes.
got to be one. There's got to be one that you can play with on the playground. Like we're not going to stew in this worry right now. We're not going to do it. She kind of
Right.
looked at me like, "Ugh."
But you know what? The more you talk to them like that, right? Like the more it becomes not part of their repertoire, right? Like
Right.
where the worry and the self-doubt and some of the feelings, before I really understood energy, I can think back now and, again, God love my parents, but like it was just a different time in a
Oh, yeah.
different way
Hmm.
without these sort of great knowledge and tools and things that we understand now today. But I'm noticing too that my kids, and hopefully they won't hear this, but my one daughter actually, when I was into her bathroom, she had stickies on her mirror, right, about all the different things that she wanted to accomplish that made me feel very proud
Hmm.
because there is only so much you can say to a 16-year-old sometimes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Every time it's like you've got a choice. And are
Hmm.
you going to wake up in a bad mood and have it be bad all day? Or are you going to wake up in a great mood and have the best day possible?
Hmm. Yep.
Right.
It's all
And
about a decision.
yeah, it's all about a decision, and sprinkling these little things into the children in our lives are so important.
Hmm.
And reframing some of their, like this morning, reframing that fact, because you know what? She'll probably come home and say she had a fabulous day.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
great happened.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
all the little friends that she was worried about not seeing, she'll be on to the next batch, right? And
Yep.
it's always like I say to my kids sometimes, how can you lead? How can you lead today? I
Hmm.
want you to think of one way you can lead, whether it's in the classroom getting people to be quiet or doing something that will, that will have other folks like follow, right? And your most important aspect of the day is to be kind
Hmm.
because you don't know what people are going through.
Right.
Right? And a lot of times too, if we've got some of our folks that are in sales that are listening, a lot of times when I'm getting texts in the middle of the day from some of my clients or things that are they haven't heard from somebody for so long, I'm always like, listen, I know you're not going to believe this, or it's going to be hard for you to hear until the evidence comes back when they finally text you back and tell you why they lost touch.
Uh-huh.
I said, but I promise you that this has nothing to do with you.
Hmm.
It has something to do within their work environment or their home environment
Hmm.
that is having them pulled away. And oh, by the way, they are one of our most important things going on in our job life, but you're not their most important,
Right.
right? And it's being able to hold the space to be able to be everyone has something going on,
Hmm.
and knowing that this has their lack of response, maybe a response that you don't want, it has nothing to do with you.
Hmm. Yep.
And that disconnecting from that is makes a huge, huge, huge difference in the course of your day,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. This is so, so good. I'm so thankful that you were able to come on the show today.
Thank
This
you.
conversation has been so good. We could go on forever.
We
I
could.
just want, is there any lasting tidbit of advice or any closing comments that you want to have before I make sure that we know how people can get in touch with you?
Oh, Corey, thank you. The only thing that I can say is if you're having those thoughts, those visions, those dreams, those aspirations for wanting more, that is your invitation and green light, as Elise
Yes.
tells us, to move forward with it. Don't let them just be out there, because the worst thing, and again, I have I have solved my issue with time and my age, and oh my gosh, like, in 10 years I might be in a wheelchair. Oh well. I'm going to run hard these next 10 years, right? But it's like, don't let yourself not take action, aligned action every day, whether it just be small, whether it's a home, whether it's a rental property, whether it's something that you really want to start doing.
Mhm.
Start researching it. Do something every day that gets you excited to get there.
Mhm.
And the biggest advice that I can really share is to start identifying those old thought patterns, limiting beliefs, and start being that person that has it all now. Because once you start living from the end, your life really will take a drastic change.
Yes.
It really will.
Yes. Okay, how can people get in touch with you?
Right now I'm getting ready to get a website up and everything. So please feel free. I'm on Instagram at Christi Civalier. And I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn. So
And
I'm
I'll put
here
all
to
that in the show notes too.
thank you. Thank you. And thank you everyone. I'm here to help. Even if anyone's just got some quick questions, please reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we close out today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Your next level is already within you. If you're feeling that pull for more clarity, more alignment, and more courage to step fully into who you're meant to be, this is your invitation to take the next step. Whether you're an entrepreneur ready to scale or a woman standing at the edge of something bigger, the path forward starts with trusting your desires, owning your worth, and leading with your inner knowing. This is exactly what I offer. Private VIP coaching, and where I guide women inside the 10K Club and 50K Club through consulting with She Sells and Superhuman Selling to help you gain clarity, step into aligned action, and build a life and business that reflects your highest vision. If you're ready to explore what's next, let's have a conversation. Book a free call now at www.corywinn.com/free call. I can't wait to connect with you. Talk soon.